What's up, everybody? Welcome to my new channel, CB Gaming, and I am really excited to finally be doing this. I have been wanting to do a YouTube channel for a few years now. I just kept putting it off, and I kept putting it off, and I'm finally here. I'm excited. I hope this works out how I envision it to work out. But as you can see here, this is going to be a Madden channel. It's my one game that I play religiously all the time. I know that the game is not in the greatest of situations right now. I am right on there. I'm right there with everybody else. I am not here to sing praises of EA. I am not here to pretend that this game is perfect. And in fact, a lot of what I'm going to do in this franchise series is showing that I know that this game is not perfect, because there's a lot of things that I'm going to try to do on my own to make this a better experience. Regardless of my feelings on the game, my love for football is way more or way higher than my hatred of the current product of Madden football. I've been playing this game since I was a kid, 20 years ago now. Heck, maybe even longer. No, probably about 20. I started playing in like 98, 99. So yeah, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. But this is something that I've been doing a long time, and as most of you who are watching this video know, because you probably came over from the RFL, that's really where I got my start in doing the YouTube thing, was with the RFL. And I just decided to branch off and do some of my own stuff. Of course, I'm still doing all the same stuff that I was doing with the RFL, so I'm hoping that I can make a good enough schedule to get all of this stuff out and be on a timely manner, but I can't promise that right away until I can work out my schedule and get things done. But I will be doing as much as I can to make sure that this is coming out on a regular basis. Without further ado, we are doing a Vikings franchise for our first video. Now, this is going to be a long-term franchise. I will not be, just simming for a season, rebuilding them, simming, rebuilding, and then in an hour-long video, the whole thing is done and they're a Super Bowl champion. No, this is going to be many episodes. This is going to be a long-term build, and I'm going to build this thing very realistically. Not a bunch of unrealistic trades, not, front-loading my draft picks to take all the good players. Serious team building exercises will take place within this franchise series. One of the first things that I mentioned before that I'm going to try to do to make this a little bit more immersive than what Madden offers is I went ahead and I set myself as every single coach in here. Now, this does not mean I'm going to be following every team or doing much for all of these teams. But what it does mean is that I will be able to make decisions for the team if I feel that a decision needs to be made. And what I mean by that is the stuff that Madden does not do. If David Culley here doesn't work out for the Texans, and they have 2 back-to-back seasons that are horrible, Madden might not fire them. They won't do it mid-season like real NFL teams will do. So if that comes to that, I want to be able to make that decision. Be like, you know what, this isn't working. Let's go ahead and put a new coach on there. Let's change up the schemes. Let's do it. Maybe somebody like the Steelers. This team they are transitioning, but they still have quite a few players there that are definitely over the hill. They're not in their prime anymore. They're great players for their overall of their career, but right now they might not be. If I want to make a decision that we're going to replace this player, even if it's not technically ratings-wise the best move, I know a real NFL team would do it. I want to be able to make that move. Or a team like the 49ers. Yeah, they got Garoppolo, but they also drafted Trey Lance. For whatever reason, they're deciding to go with Garoppolo this year. That's cool. Let them learn. But if in our series here, if the 49ers open up 1-4, in most NFL circles, that's a call for, let's get the rookie in here. We're not going to the playoffs. This team needs a lot of work. Let's get our rookie in there and see what we got with him. I want to go in and make that change of the depth chart. These are the kind of things that Madden will not do that I want to do. Now, I could just go in and just, make one extra player or character and go and make that change and leave again. But I don't think the roster will keep. I don't think the depth chart will keep. So I want to be the one who has control of that stuff. So for that reason, I have a profile on every single team in the franchise file. And if you guys caught it before, you might have noticed that I also made some changes. So first off, right here, there's only one coach for the Patriots right now, and that's Bill Belichick. Now, I know he doesn't want to be in the game. That's fine, but he's in my series. I made him. It doesn't look like him, but I made him. Griffin Murphy's got to go. I don't know who you are, but you're not the Patriots coach. And then another thing I did, I'm not about to get canceled by YouTube, okay? I'm not trying to be canceled within my first series on the channel, on the platform. So John Gruden's gone. Rich Bisaccia, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, so I'm sorry if I'm messing that up. He's the guy that's stepping in real life, so he is the guy in this game. He is the coach. Gruden is gone. I'm not getting canceled, okay? Everybody else, same as always. We'll make changes based off of the way the series goes. The other portion that I really want to point out to you is I will be using a Madden story generator that I have on an Excel sheet that will help me come up with other player scenarios that we just don't see on the game. Like, you know, players getting better in the offseason, players getting worse in the offseason, player suspensions, you know, draft busts, you know, draft gems, all of those things that you just cannot get in Madden itself as its current state, and I want to provide that. So that is two things that I'm going to do to make this stand out. Now, with all the coach profiles, I only have it set to me being able to handle the preseason cut days and also the contract negotiations. I'm sure most of you know by playing this game, that this game is not very good at choosing who to cut, choosing who to keep, who to trade, who to draft. So that is really going to be a big part of this. It's going to take me extra work, yes, but it's also going to allow me to bring you guys in more on what's happening around our league. What are the other teams doing from time to time? Heck, if it's a huge enough game or maybe a Super Bowl, and if we get enough people that want to watch it, I can now go and I can run that game and see what happens. And by see what happens, that leads me to my next point, and my final big thing for this franchise series is I will not be playing the games. That does not mean I'm just simming them and not playing them at all. It means I'm doing it the RFL way. And if you don't know what the RFL way is, it's quite simple. We stream the games in Super Sim slow mode in broadcast view. To me, that's the single greatest way to get the most out of your experience. You're going truly off of the ratings of each player you have on your team, and you can truly see who is good and who is not. Now, I can go in here and I can make any player I want good. I'm not saying that because I'm a great Madden player. I'm saying that because I know how to, force feed a receiver. I know how to break the game if I need to. I know which route combos will beat the defense just because the game isn't designed good enough to stop it. And I don't want that. I want to have to make real decisions. So we're going to be playing this game the way that I do in the RFL. I hope a lot of you are okay with that. If you're not, it's not your cup of tea, that's cool too. I get that everybody has their own preferences. This is mine. So with that, you guys know what we're doing, how we're doing it, and what the goal is of this series. Without further ado, let's go ahead and let's take a look at the roster. Now, some of you are going to know exactly what the Vikings have on their roster. Some of you may not. But I did want to just take a quick run through, show what I think of the roster, give initial thoughts on what we might have to do right off the gate, and go from there. And that'll probably be the end of the video, just because I'm not sure what I want to do for the next series, like the next part, if I want to just sim through the first season, play a couple games, figure things out, do a video for the preseason cuts or something like that. But a lot of these teams are already set in real life, so I don't feel the need to actually have to, make those decisions and show the games right now. I think a lot of people would rather just go to the end of the season, see the off season, see the draft, all the fun stuff, and see what happens next year. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's do a quick rundown of this roster so we know where we stand and what we're going to be doing next. First and foremost, Kirk Cousins, the quarterback. Very controversial guy, not by his own doing, but just for being who he is. He got a big contract a couple of years ago. Now it doesn't seem like that big of a contract after the last series of quarterback signings, but a lot of people still hold that against him. A lot of people hold the fact that we haven't really gotten to the playoffs or made any noise in the postseason against him. What you can't do is say that he's not a very efficient passer, because he is. And a lot of people have negative thoughts about him. A lot of people like him. It's really mixed between everybody. I'm sort of on the fence about him. I don't hate the guy. I just don't know if he is the franchise guy the Vikings need. Fortunately for us, he's 33, and we will be moving on from him. I don't know what's going to happen in real life, but I'm not going to be running a 35, 36-year-old quarterback. We will find somebody to replace him. It could be Kellen Mond. I don't know. But Kellen Mond is only a 66. And he's a normal depth. Is he the future? We'll find out in the next season or two. And we'll definitely try to focus our training on him to make sure that he gets as much of a chance as possible. But it's going to come down to the draft and really free agency. Who knows what might be out there. At quarterback, we don't have to go over this. Dalvin Cook is the guy. The only problem is he sometimes gets hurt, but if that happens, we got Alexander Mattison, who is a great backup and honestly might be a starter one day in real life in the NFL. I'm not saying for the Vikings, it might be for somebody else, because he has been playing exceptionally well for them every time he gets put in because Dalvin Cook is hurt, which is a lot more than what a backup should be playing. Amir Abdullah is just a role player. Nwanu here, which I probably said his name wrong, he's on IR. We're not sure where he fits in the team yet. We won't know until next year. CJ Ham, he's not going anywhere. Very, very underrated fullback. And a Vikings player that a lot of fans love, so including me. So he'll be here for the long haul. Receiver is probably the first spot where we see, aside from quarterback that is, that we really need to do some thinking here. Justin Jefferson is the future. He is the now and the future, I should say. But we need a lot more than one receiver. This is not the 1990s NFL where you can just have a receiver, a great running back, and be good. You need three guys almost. We have two right now between Jefferson and Thielen, but Thielen is getting up there. He's 31. I don't know how long he's going to be startable, if you will. Behind these two, we have a lot of guys who we really don't know much about yet. D.D. Westbrook has sort of bounced around in the NFL. He hasn't really shown much here. He could on our franchise. I don't know yet. Johnson is out for the season. KJ Osborne is really the guy that has every opportunity. I will be running him as our third receiver like he is in real life. And I'm hoping he plays really well and can develop into a guy that we can build on. Amir Smith-Marset might also be one of those guys. He's got a little bit of a taller ladder to climb, but he is right there with KJ Osborne. He's just not going to get the playing time starting out. Chisena is probably not going to make the roster. He's just too low of an overall. I'm not going to keep a 60 overall. I don't care that he has 95 speed. I can find that in the draft. I can find that in free agency. And then tight end here, Irv Smith is out for the year. Very big blow. I thought this was going to be his breakout year after getting rid of Kyle Rudolph last year. But regardless of Kyle Rudolph being here or not, I do miss Rudolph's body frame. Like he's 6'6", like 260 pounds, whatever I think 260, maybe 250. Just that big target you could just walk the ball up to and he can come down with it. I do miss the Vikings having that. So we might be going to look at tight ends in the near future. Can we find another guy to replace Rudolph in that role? Because Irv Smith is a great talent, but I don't know if he's number one tight end worthy. He's 6'2", 240. He does not have the ideal height to be a tight end. He can be split out wide, which is helpful, but again, I don't know if he can be the number one guy for this team. A lot of question marks down here after him, too. Conklin has been a really good fill-in player. We don't know much about Christopher Herndon, who just got traded to the Vikings. Not really sure why they traded for him, but I know they needed some help there with Smith going down. The line is where we actually start to get a little bit of promise here, even though it doesn't look like it. Darisaw is a rookie. He was our first-round draft pick this past year. He's got star dev, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And he could really form into our next left tackle for the franchise. Ezra Cleveland, who was brought in as a left tackle out of college, but transitioned to guard last year, he could be a really solid zone blocking guard for us in this zone run that we run. Plus, he is young, and we can build off of him. Garrett Bradbury, he's midway through his career, I think. I know he's only a 2-year pro, but being 26 already, I don't know how long he is going to be a solid starter. Obviously, at least for the next 4 or 5 years. And it depends on how much he progresses if we're going to keep him or not in the long run. Because I know his contract is going to be coming up in the next season or two, and I don't know if I want to put that kind of money aside for him if he is just being, subpar or average, if we can draft somebody to really grow into that role. Oli Udoh is another guy. I would like to see him develop, but I don't know if he'll be able to with the 69 overall. Wyatt Davis, unfortunately, Madden does not like him. He's only a 63, so chances are he probably won't be able to grow into a starter for us either, just because of the amount of time it takes to build up players in this game. Brian O'Neill, he's definitely the mainstay at the right tackle position. He just signed that big deal to keep him here for quite some time. So we're good at the right tackle position. I'm hoping that a lot of these guys pan out and we don't need a full-on O-line rebuild in the next season or two, because that is really difficult to do. Going over to the defense, we got Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is just just like his X Factor. He's an unstoppable force, man. He is a great player, an excellent edge rusher, and one of the best in the league, in my opinion. We're set there. Once we get to the right end, you can see Everson Griffin here, who's had a great bounce back with the Vikings for his second trip here. But he is 33. So even if he does do well for us this year, is he a guy that's going to be in our long-term thoughts? Probably not. We'll have to see what we get with DJ Wanham and Patrick Jones behind him. But those ratings and the depth traits they have, which are normal, might not suit well for them. On to the D tackles, and when we have a lot of options here. Michael Pierce, Sheldon Richardson, Dalvin Tomlinson. But all of them are getting up there. Tomlinson, the youngest one, at 27. Richardson already hit that 30 wall, and Pierce is not far behind at 28. Now, Pierce, of course, will be good for quite a few years yet, even if that regression wall hits, because he's an 89. But I can't say the same for Tomlinson and Richardson. So we'll have to see what happens there and what we find in free agency or the draft. Linebacker is where it gets interesting as well, because Anthony Barr is a 79 and is a staymate on this Vikings defense, but he's 29. And that, again, the regression is going to hit, and he might fall really far down that overall ranking, maybe down to a 74, 75. I hope not, but might be time to replace Anthony Barr. Eric Kendricks, of course, he's going to be there. He's the captain of this defense. Yeah, he's 29 as well, but he's also a 90. He's got superstar development. He's not going anywhere. And then at the right outside position, we definitely need to find somebody. Whether that be free agency or the draft, we have to get somebody here. This is probably one of the biggest areas of need for this entire team is some linebackers. So that's something we're definitely going to have to key in on. Corner is a close second, I think. I mean, yes, we talked about receiver and we talked about tight end and we talked about quarterback, but there's at least players there that we can get by with. And for now, there is on this defense, but this defense is aging. Mackenzie Alexander is a good nickel slot for us, but he's not going to be able to play outside for long. Patrick Peterson is 31, going to be 32. You know that regression is going to bring him down. And Brashad Breeland, he's already as low as a 73. He's probably going to go down to a 68 or a 69 after the season is over. I hope not, but that's probably what's going to happen. I really want to work on Cam Dantzler because he could be a future starter for us. He could be a number 1 or a number 2. He's got good size for it. I wish he was a little faster, but who knows? He might get that with some upgrades. Harrison Hand and Chris Boyd are some pretty solid depth players that could form into be more of a slot contributor. I don't know if they'll ever get to that point of being a starter for us, but they are there for depth, and we do have them. On to the safeties now. We have Xavier Woods, who just came over from the Cowboys last year through free agency. I really like him. I think he will be our starter for the next season or two. I doubt we end up taking a safety high enough to beat out his overall, especially if he has a good season for us. And then, of course, Harrison Smith this guy's not going anywhere. He's going to stay here until I decide. Well, no, not even until I decide, until he decides. He ain't going anywhere until he retires. He is a Vikings legend. He's my favorite player on the team. He's not going anywhere. He will be here, even if it means he's 50 years old, which I have seen in some of these Madden videos. Some of these players, man, they are not retiring at all. So We'll see if that happens. Hopefully not, because he'll probably be like a 42 by that point. But he's going to be here, and he will be our starting strong safety until he decides to hang it up. And the last but not least, kicker. I have one goal of this franchise, and that is to break the curse of the Vikings kickers. Every single year since that horrible playoff game against the Seahawks, when Blair Walsh kicked it wide left or wide right, whatever which way it was, I don't care. I block it out of my memory. This kicker curse has got to end. And I don't think Greg Joseph is the guy to do it. We've already seen this year that he's too inconsistent. And look at that accuracy, 69. Nice. But it's bad. So that might be my number one goal. We have to end the kicking controversy of the Minnesota Vikings. And then, of course, we got Jordan Berry, who came over in the preseason. I'm not sure where he came from, but he'll probably be replaced as well because he's already 30. Granted, he's a punter, but I'm sure we can find somebody who's a 75 in the punting pool at free agency. So that's pretty much that's the whole team there. So I wanted to just go through that, give you guys my initial thoughts, what I think we need to do first. And now, like I said before, this is probably going to be the end of this video. I don't really have much else to go through. I think the next video I post, I will probably just go through the preseason without recording. I'll probably get the preseason cuts done for all the teams, because like I said, that's one of the things that I put down for manual. So I will have to go and do that for all 32 teams. But that's probably going to be pretty simple. I mean, like I said, most of these teams are accounted for already. If there's any big name trades or decisions made, I will definitely, have it in my next video. But I will probably just sim into actually, I might just sim the whole season. Maybe sim. Well, no, I can't do that because with the new scouting feature, we do have to go over all the scouting players and go through that process. So we'll probably pick up again in week 1. We probably won't watch the games, but we will do a deep dive quick on the draft class and what we're looking to aim at. Hopefully we can get some good players that we can use. But yeah, so that'll do it for today. Again, thank you for stopping by. I hope you stick around. I hope you watch the rest of the series, and I'll see you next time.